I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. I know everybody has a lot going on. And actually, we had snow in Florida today. How special is that? So welcome to what employers need to know about the H-1B cap lottery. I actually purposefully did this for employers first because the employees have typically foreign workers have a lot more detailed questions, anxiety and things. But I wanted to give you kind of the bigger overview of what we're seeing, what we expect to see. And, a lot of it is based on what we saw in prior years and what we expect. But there's quite a few new things. So that's what I concentrated on. Please try to be with me, turn off distractions, be with me so that you can get the most that you can for the next 30 minutes. So covering because some of you are new, some of you are very seasoned, but H-1B visa and the lottery process, big overview. The main thing is going to be the latest updates and regulatory changes. So I'm going to spend a bulk of the presentation there. Then the key timelines, notifications, organizational accounts, work location rules for H-1B employees. And this is a big deal. It continues to be a big deal just because of the global world that we're in and people working remotely and moving, and the length of processing times that don't necessarily align with the antique immigration process that we work with. And then travel implications. Of course, we're already getting questions about travel and the H-1B cap and all of that. And then what to do next. So here we go. Again, this is my legal hat on. Every case is unique, and everything that I'm going to give you here, again, is from a broad perspective, not case specific. And for that, that's what we're here for, one-on-ones. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, take your phone, scan me, connect, follow me, because sometimes it is the easiest way for me to get some information out. So there you go. Now, I want engagement from you all, and one of the ways that I get engagement and also perspective on and how the presentation is going and how do you feel about things. I want you to just indulge me and yourself for 1 minute and just let me know in the chat. You can do a direct DM to me directly or just in the chat in general. On a scale 1 to 10, 1 being very anxious, uncertain, 10 very confident, prepared. How do you feel about the H-1B cap lottery process? Again, some of you are fairly new to this process, and some of you are not. So my goal is always to give you your best investment of time. And I want to see, good, I see an 8. Wow, that's going to be tough to tap for me to get you to a 9, but yay. But I actually want to say, to some degree, I think that's there because of prior experience, which, yay, we're giving ourselves kudos for. So keep telling me. I mean, that also helps me know where you're all at. So tell me what else. One more number in the chat as I continue. And again, my goal again is to always get you higher than where you're at. So H-1B cap lottery process, big overview, widely used as the most used of the work visas out there, highly scrutinized, and more so potentially in the years to come. Although I'm actually, every time that Trump says that he knows about H-1B visas, I'm like, that's good to know. And yesterday he was doing an interview, and he actually said, oh yeah, I know a lot about H-1B visas. I've even gotten some for some of my businesses for a Metro D. And I was like, I would love to send a filing to USCIS saying, please approve these. So, but anyway, require U.S. employer sponsorship. position needs to be considered a specialty occupation. And we are going to talk about that a little more because that is one of the things that is changing in the regulations. Wage and compliance requirements for those of you that have participated in H-1B before, you know that this is a unique requirement on H-1B and not other work visa, that there's a labor condition application that certifies the wage and the working conditions and the notice of posting that is required. So that's a big overview. The numbers have not changed. Actually, some of you may know that I am writing a book, and I might as well show you this. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe you can, maybe you're not. This is actually will go to print. Maybe we'll launch end of the spring, the Corporate Immigration Advantage, how to hire, retain, and thrive with global talent in a competitive world. And I've put a lot of passion and energy into this over the last 6 months, but it's amazing when you write a book, how much you learn, how deep you go into some of the work that you do, and this issue of the H-1B cap, which when I started practicing, my book reminded me, my work on the book reminded me, we had 195,000 H-1Bs at that time. This was 2003, 2004. And then they dropped to the 85,000 that we've had for a very long time. Why can we not go back to 195,000? And it's just an act of Congress. But anyway, that's where we are. That's what we're going to be for this year. And who knows what the future will bring. Okay, latest updates and regulatory changes. This have been in the works for a while, and they literally went into effect January 17th, so just a few days ago. Some of the things were just basically codified into law, meaning they were in memo, so they were being applied, but they were not the law. And some of them are just kind of new things. So the H-1B registration fee, as you know from last year, was $10. It's been $10 since for a little while now. It goes to $215 this year. That was proposed last year, but it didn't go into effect. So it's now in effect for this year. The H-1B cap gap, this is a big one. And it was proposed, it had not been enacted into law, but it was just enacted. And I believe there is a pro and con on this. The pro is that, as you may know, the way the H-1B cap gap worked was that as long as the employee had an employment authorization document valid, so this applies only for F1 students, on OPT and CPT, but not, I'm sorry, OPT and a STEM OPT, not for CPT. They are able to apply for cap gap, or they don't apply, it just basically automatically happens as long as their employment authorization document from their F1 is still valid at the time that we file their H-1B and their H-1B petition is accepted by USCIS. And those filings are called priority filings. So meaning that if I have 10 H-1Bs that I need to file, the ones that we prioritize to file first are the ones that I'm bumping into an EAD expiration that may be at the beginning of April or May or something like that, because I want to ensure that that person gets cap gap. And I hope you're following here. I know it's complicated, but the gist of this extension is that before that cap gap ran through September 30th. And after, as of October 1st, if that H-1B had not been approved, the person could be in the United States, but they couldn't work. Now, this extends that cap gap until April 1st of the following year, which is awesome, because now we don't have to worry about USCIS not having to approve that H-1B petition by October 1st for the person to continue to work. So I hope, do you follow? So give me a yes on on the chat or thumbs up or something to let me know that that makes sense to you what I'm saying. Okay, cool. Because it takes a little bit of processing. Now, so that's awesome, because before we need to worry, oh my God, if they're not approved by October 1st, do I need to worry about premium processing so that person can continue to work? That's not going to be a problem anymore. My concern from doing this for 20 plus years, and every time USCIS does something like this, is basically they give themselves free range to not approve anything for months and months and months to come. And what I envision is we're going to get to October 1st, November 1st. Potentially those petitions are not going to be approved, and your foreign nationals want to travel in December, and they can't until that petition is approved before they can travel. So just process that, put it somewhere. I hope I'm wrong, and USCIS is going to surprise us all and approve everything that needs to be approved by October 1st. That's the way it should be, but we'll see. But I'm going to stay in the positive side of this and say, hey, if nothing else, we have an ongoing employment authorization document until April of next year, which is great. The next one here, definition of specialty occupation. It's always been in the law, but now it's enhanced. And as we work, and many of you know, when we do H-1B petitions, we do something that many attorneys don't do, which is we call projects. Basically, we say, okay, let's put this education and job duties in the context of a project that the foreign worker is going to do for you, to show how the specialty occupation plays a role, and their education plays a role into what they're doing for you. Those projects are going to become now more important, because the specialty occupation, we're going to have to show that it's specifically related to the job duties. Meaning that, say we have, I want to say, a civil engineer degree, but they're working on AI projects, and USCIS doesn't see the connection between the two. So how that degree in engineering translating to working in AI through those projects, and sometimes we may even have to do an educational breakdown. This course supports this duty, that course supports that duty. Just know that this is going to become a red flag to some degree, that we're ready to work on this because we've been doing it for a while. But in some cases, it may require a little bit more tweaking to make sure that we don't get an RFE. This is another one that is really big, site visits. Before, they were voluntary. Anytime that you file for an H or an L, it's always been in the law that USCIS or ICE, which is typically who shows up, they can come and randomly appear at your work site at the foreign worker's home, if working from home is one of the options in the LCA. They can show up and talk to your managers. And I mean, we've had clients that have gone through this visit, and they're scary. They typically, they come, they ask questions, they interview people, they take records, and typically that's it. Nothing else happens, because all of our clients are very legal and they do everything right. And we're here to support you. But just know that this will be coming more, will be happening more. And I will be doing more, providing more information on this. Just know that this could happen. And I want you to be prepared. H-1B amendment rule, this is codified. This is something that many of you are aware of. If the person changes work locations, for example, they're working in Jacksonville now, but now they're going to be working in Orlando, that an amendment needs to be done, because it's a change in work location outside of the metropolitan area that they were supposed to be working at. And then maintenance of a status proof. Again, this is something we've been including our files forever and ever, but now it's been codified into law. So you probably know that we ask the foreign workers for their last pay statements, prior approvals, basically showing that they've maintained status for the time that they have been in the United States. Again, now this is law, so it will be flagged as we file. I kind of covered this already. So again, specialty occupation, sample. We have a bachelor's in mechanical engineer. The title is software engineer. The connection between those two needs to be very clear to USCIS. And the other one is this gap extension that I just kind of went through. Again, what I foresee as pros and I foresee as cons of this process. Okay, timelines. USCIS has not yet provided us with a timeline on when the lottery would begin or the registration or any of that. This is based on the last 15 years or so, or well, actually registration probably started about 5 years ago, but January, due diligence, preparation, strategy. Thank you for all of you that have so far send us confirmation that yes, we're going to enter our foreign national into the lottery again. We need those as soon as possible because next week, that's another reason why I put the foreign workers webinar for next week. Please, please, please make sure that we have your confirmations back so that your foreign workers can attend this webinar. It will save you a ton amount of time because they will ask me the questions, and that's good. That's what we want to happen, okay? And their webinar is for an hour plus. I will answer questions. I will go through their webinar, which is a little different than this one. It's longer, more in depth on the things that they ask questions about. So please send me your questions. Confirm who you have so that we can include them in the webinar next week. So that's January, which is almost at the end. It's 22nd of January today. February, we expect that we're going to start getting some emails from USCIS saying, hey, organizational accounts are open, reactivate, register, blah, blah, blah. March, again, registration, opening and closing. April selection, April through June, filing, October 1st, status begins. I think this is what it looked like for last year. I left it here just for reference so that, you know, we can kind of see. So February 28th, that's when the organizational accounts went live. So far, we don't expect changes to what happened last year in terms of the organizational accounts. If you had one that we helped you create last year or reactivate, I envision the process to be very similar, but nothing has been said so far. Notification selections, again, if you've been part of this process, you know that when the person gets selected, you get an email that basically says your account has been updated. And it's a very painful process for me, even though it is exciting because I just get all these emails and I have to log in. But hey, at the end of the weekend, because it typically happens over the weekend, we kind of know who has been selected, and I'm hopeful that it's many. Organizational accounts. Again, this is just a little glimpse at just to bring back memories of kind of what the account looks like. But again, nothing new has happened with this. I'm assuming they're working to update them. I know at the end of last year, many of you and me received notices that USCIS was closing the H-1B cases from last year at the end of the year. So I'm assuming at some point they kind of updated these accounts. So time for planning. You're doing it now. Thank you for being here. Okay, many of you have not been very active on the chat. So tell me one takeaway so far. One thing that you've learned that is new. Help me get that score up in terms of knowledge. Are you with me? Yes, the CapCups, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. It is nice. Again, I, 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 um, I hope that they continue processing fast and that we just have that. It is, frankly, out of everything that has come out of USCIS lately, that's probably the one of the nicest things. Yes, thank you. Okay, work location. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, this is all new to me. I appreciate that. And this is, again, it's hard to balance because some of the people that are here have been doing this with us for a while. So I try to balance everything. And you will all get this again, the replay, so that you can, process this also. So work location rules. And again, I appreciate because I know many of you do these presentations. It's hard when you're over here talking to yourself for half an hour and you don't know what's happening on the other side. Work location rules. This can be complicated, but I know for many of you, you've been through this, but basically on the very high level, the LCAs and the H-1Bs petitions are tied to the specific work location. If the work from home is permitted, and we tell this to the foreign workers, when we work with them in their petitions, we need their home address listed as a work location in the LCA. If various work locations, say for some reason they work in New York and they work in Boston, both of those locations need to be listed, and the highest of the prevailing wage is what drives the payment. And you have heard me say metropolitan statistical area, and that is basically geographic area of employment, which typically within the normal commuting distance. So say I'm in Jacksonville, probably St. Augustine is a normal commuting distance for some people. I know there's people that live in St. Augustine that work in Jacksonville, but now Orlando may not be. So again, I mentioned this before. New filing is required if there is a new geographic area outside of the MSA. If it's in a new permanent work from home location, but is still within the same MSA, we don't have to file a new amended petition. We just have to do a new LCA and notice, which is nice. Travel implications. Again, big picture, you get these questions a lot. And I will go through this with your foreign nationals next week, but if they're traveling, if they want to travel, after the lottery selection, but the H-1B has not been filed, so say they get selected April 1st, they want to travel at the end of April before we file their petition sometime in June. Possible, yes. Risky, also. I say no unless absolutely necessary. They can get stuck abroad and they're not coming back for a very long time. Is it worth it? I say no, but that's my take on it. And I've personally been on those situations because I'm an immigrant myself. After the H-1B has been filed, so between June and potentially October 1st, no travel. After the H-1B has been approved, say they approved it September 1st, but it's before October 1st, no travel. After October 1st, if it has been approved, yes. But remember that when they come back to the United States, they need to consular process a new H-1B visa stamp in order to re-enter the United States, because up until that time, they have an F1 as their visa stamp in their passport, okay? Okay, what to do next? If you haven't already, confirm your candidates with us, please. Again, I will be doing next Wednesday, 2 to 3, is a webinar for your foreign workers. I want to save you time, headaches. I want as many of them to be here as possible. Please let them know. Let us know where your candidates are, and we'll send them the invite. Stay tuned. It's again, I do LinkedIn posts that also sometimes provide quicker info than the emails that you get, but we do send newsletters, HR insights, all of that. Everything is evolving very quickly. Even as I wrote this book in the last 6 months, I've probably gone back, I want to say probably once a month during those 6 months to update things that have already changed. And I'm like, ugh, it never ends. But we're here to support you. This is what I do all day long, and my team does all day long. So we're here for you to save you time. Questions. If you have other questions, of course, you can always email us, and I welcome those. Many times the emails that you send me are also emails that I use them for newsletters and things so that it helps everybody. So you can scan the code or you can just email us. Okay, very quickly, I'm getting to the end of this. Please tell me on the chat, are those numbers up? Where are you now compared to where you started in the 1 to 10? Yes, I love you. Thank you so much. Oh, awesome. Thank you. I love it. Okay, give yourself a high five. Oh, I forgot that I had this here. So yes, there is the new book. It is the reason why I've put so much emphasis on and time and effort into this is because corporate immigration is here to stay. The declining workforce, the population getting older, people retiring. There is no way that our country can continue to thrive without foreign workers. Sprinkling and enhancing our workforce. So I look forward to sharing more about this. I know that together we can navigate the H-1B visa season and everything else that they throw our way with confidence and tons of success. So thank you so much for being here with me. I made it. We made it together. 2:30. Yay. Okay, if you have any questions for me right now, I am happy to stay here for a few more minutes and take those on so you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, just make sure that you send us your list of foreign workers if you haven't already, so we can include them in the presentation next week. Okay? Thank you, everybody. And again, I'll be here for the next few minutes if you have questions.